Friends with Benefits, Part 1. You know what they say about friends with benefits? It's always a bad idea and someone will eventually get hurt. Well, I wish that I had been logical and not done what I did. But here I was with this mess, and I had no idea how I was going to get out of it. He had grown on me, and now he was embedded in my thoughts. But I hated it. To start from the beginning, here's what happened. So, Frank and I were good friends for a long time. One day on a drunken night, we slept with each other. The next morning, it was a bit awkward between us, and we swore to not do it again. But of course, the attraction between us was too much, and we had to do it. So then it became a regular thing. We started to sleep with each other. Neither of us wanted to commit to a relationship, so we came up with the brilliant idea of being friends with benefits. If only we had not slept together on that night. Things would be different at the moment. I would not be lamenting over what had happened in the past. Stop thinking too much. I could see the look in your eyes. You're not here, Frank said, as he retreated from my neck. I could not help it. I was wondering how long this would last. I could not deny he made my body feel unimaginable things. But then there was the matter of my heart. I could not help replaying the conversations we had sometimes. He was smart, cute, and many other things. He was also always there for me, and that was why I had fallen for him. But I knew that we were doomed. He constantly told me that he did not believe in love. I was starting to believe in it. In him. Sorry, I'm here now, I said. Good, he growled, burying his head in my neck. He sucked and bit my neck, leaving tender kisses that numbed the pain. I tugged at his long hair, my arousal intensifying. I made to touch his belt, but he slapped my hand. Such a tease. Wait, I'm not done with you yet, he said, pinning me onto the bed and rising. His hands made their way down my naked chest, caressing me while I watched him with bated breath. Are you just going to do that the whole day? I smirked. Of course, he smiled wickedly. His lip-piercing glinted in the light, filtering in from the window. I pulled him down on me and started nibbling on his lip. He let out a moan and made for my trousers. I let his hands get close to my belt before I laughed and slapped it. Revenge was a dish best served hot, and I could see in his darkened eyes that he wanted me. Pity. I was going to have my own way with him. I let him play at being dominant for far too long. You're not being fair, he panted. Tell me then, how can I be fair? I said. Give me what I want, he whispered. I chuckled darkly. Now that is what I wanted to hear. I loved hearing him beg for me. So I gave him what he wanted. Our bodies were in sync with each other, taking and giving. When we were done, we lay beside each other, breathless. I found myself in his arms. Somehow, I had gravitated towards him. I always found myself doing so. He never said anything about those moments. When we had made this arrangement, we had promised each other that we would not do anything that was too affectionate. But here we were, breaking those very rules. Then he pulled away from me and got off the bed. I'm thirsty. Gonna get myself some water. Do you want some? He asked. Sure, thanks, I said. He left the room and I remained in the bed. I smelt like him. Later, I was home catching up on some work. I had left his house a few hours ago. I felt as if I had to break things off with him soon. As much as I liked him, I could no longer act like I did not have any feelings for him. That was not fair to either of us. Suddenly I got a text. Frank. Hey, wanted to get your opinion on something. Me. Shoot. Frank. I'm going to a work conference in a few days. What should I wear between these two? He sent me 2 images of a black shirt and a white one. I picked the white one because it would look great with his red hair. We always consulted each other to ask for advice on certain things. It was like we were in a relationship without the title. A one-sided relationship at that, for I was falling for this man. I could not help it. Whenever I got his text, my heart would speed up. When I was in his arms, it felt so happy. But I could never tell him how I felt. You see, there was this guy who was always commenting on his stuff on social media. They were always tagging each other in stuff, which I found suspicious. I had asked him about the guy one day, but he had told me that the guy was just a friend. I hated that I cared. I was not supposed to care. He and I were just sleeping together, not in a relationship. But why was it that he was so possessive of me? He would get jealous when he saw me talking to other guys. It was those moments that gave me hope. that maybe he felt something for me that was more. I suddenly got an idea as I was sitting there. Something that would get us out of this limbo. I was going to confess my feelings for him. So the next day I went over to his place. We had a few drinks and chatted for a few minutes. I was not going to say anything, but I think something is up with you. What's wrong? He said, looking at me. There is something that's been on my mind for a while and I want to talk to you about it, I began. Okay, what is it? He asked. I really enjoy what we have here, I said. As do I. It's been a lot of fun, he smiled. But what if we could be more? I looked down. I was bad at communicating. Something like, he bit his lip. I like you, I said. I like you too. You're a good friend, he smiled. I like you as more than a friend, I said. Oh, his face fell. I knew it. I should not have told him how I felt. Now I was going to end things. I deserved it. How could have I told him? I should have just let it be. I know that you said you do not believe in love, but I have been enjoying my time with you. I have grown to really like you in the past few weeks. I'm bad at expressing myself, I drifted off. You're a wonderful person, smart, quirky, and kind. I wish I felt the same way about you, he said. So you feel nothing? I do, it's just something that I've never felt before. I need to figure out my feelings. I do not know if I like you or not. Sorry. I wish that I could give you a definite answer. It's just not as simple as that, I guess. I understand, I forced a smile. I did not feel the pain at that moment, just numbness. I have an early start at work tomorrow. Can I see you some other time? I said, already making my way to the door. I got home and threw myself on the bed. I could not understand this guy. Did he want me or did he not? I had been stupid to think that I could be the one who would help him get over his ex. They were right when they said that one should not try to fix anyone. You'll end up being broken in the process. I called my friend Becky and asked her if she wanted to go out. At this point, I wanted to drink the night away and not think of him. She texted me a few minutes later to let me know that she was on her way to my place. I changed my shirt and checked my emails while I waited for her. I got a text from Frank, but I swiped it to the right. I did not want to speak to him at this moment. What I needed was to drink some beer. Becky showed up a few minutes later in an Uber. Hey Andy, how are you doing? She asked, hugging me. Shitty, and you? I asked. I'm okay. What's wrong with you? How did things go with Frankie? She said, not even giving herself a moment to breathe. I do not want to talk about it. I just want to go to a club right now, I said. Noted, she said as we got into the Uber and we were on our way. We arrived at the club in a couple of minutes later. We had a few shots before to start off the night. Feel like dancing, I said. Dance we shall, she giggled. She went ahead of me, already swaying her high heels. You know what they say about short people and alcohol. We began dancing among the throng of people. I got so lost in the music that I did not think of anything else. The alcohol pumping through my veins, the colorful lights. It was a sensory overload, and I loved every second of it. After a while, I was breathless. I whispered to Becky that I was going to the bar to get myself a drink. She told me that she was going to dance for a while and would join me in a few moments. I went to the bar and ordered a shot of tequila. I was hitting the alcohol hard tonight. I was sure that I was going to have a hangover from hell the next morning. Celebrating something? A voice said beside me. I turned my head to see who was speaking, and it was a guy with sandy blonde hair and blue eyes. He had a twinkle in his eye as he looked at me. Something inside me sparked. I could not deny. I loved the attention that I was getting from this stranger. Nope, drinking my sorrows away like everyone in this place, I laughed. Who says that I have sorrows to drink away? He smirked. Fair enough, I said, turning to drink the shot that the bartender had just placed in front of me. Then again, you could be right. I just wanted to tell you that you look good, he said. I gasped internally and glowed at the same time. I had not expected a compliment from him. He flashed me a smile and disappeared before I could say anything. I wanted to hear those words from Frank. I wanted him to forget his ex and love me instead. But that was too much for me to ask, I guess. He was still figuring out his feelings. I guess I would just be patient with him and let him figure them out. I had been a bit selfish. I could not expect him to just develop feelings for me out of the blue. At least there was a sliver of hope. He did say that he felt something for me that he had never felt before. I wondered if that something would one day develop into something more. I decided to check the message that he had sent me. Frank. Hey, I want to talk to you about something. Frank. I'm sorry, I did not mean to hurt you. Me. It's okay. You did not hurt me. I'm just glad that we talked about it. He started typing but then stopped. Becky suddenly appeared beside me. Her face was flushed and she was laughing. She ordered a drink for herself and sat in the seat beside me. Okay, dude, I love this place. We should come here more often, she said. Of course, I said as I checked my phone again. I noticed something strange. I could no longer see his profile picture. I checked his last scene and I could not see it. I sent him a message and it ticked once. Maybe the network was the problem. I asked Becky for her phone and I searched for his number. It had gone blank as well. I took a sip of some water while I tried to think about what had happened. I checked all of my social media and I noticed that he had blocked me. I was lost. Things had been good. We had just spoken a moment ago and now this? Maybe I needed to calm down. There had to be a logical explanation for this. I put my phone away and ordered another beer. I would deal with this later. Right now, I would focus on having fun with my friend. I drank until I could not even remember my own name. I don't even remember how I got home. Irresponsible of me, I know. The next morning I woke up with a headache to end all headaches. I felt as if my head had been hit by a sledgehammer. My stomach felt funny as well. Suddenly, I started to feel really hot. I took that as a sign that I was about to puke. I regretted overindulging the previous night. What had I been thinking? Now I had to deal with the consequences. After drinking some pills and some water, I texted my manager to let him know that I was not coming in on that day because I was sick. It was the truth though. I was feeling really shitty. It had been such a long time since I had to nurse a hangover. I had not missed it in the slightest. I opened the fridge to check if there was anything edible that I could eat. It was empty except for a pie. I thanked my lucky stars and put it in the microwave. When it was ready, I ate it all. I felt so much better after I'd finished eating. Life was not looking too bleak anymore. This also allowed my mind to assault me with the events of last night. My stomach sank as I remembered that Frank had possibly blocked me. I took my phone from the charger and logged into my backup Instagram account. Of course I had one. Anything could happen to my main one. I searched for his username and I found him instantly. He did not know about the Instagram account, which was why he had not blocked me on it. His latest post shocked me to the core. I dropped my phone on the counter and I started to cry. He was in a photograph with the guy he told me not to worry about. The photo was not what shocked me, it was his caption. So glad to be back in your arms after one long year. Not going to let you go. The audacity of this guy. He had been talking to his ex while I was falling for him, and only a few hours when he had told me that he felt something for me, he had gotten back with his ex. Why did I have to deal with this? My only fault was feeling something for him. I should have never started this complicated relationship with him. Now he had pulled the rug from under my feet and left me high and dry. I left my phone there and I went back to my bedroom. I got into bed and pulled the cover over me. I stayed there for a while, crying until every tear that I had was gone. I was sad that I had lost him, disappointed in his lack of transparency, and angry at him for playing me. Was anyone genuine anymore? People treated relationships like a joke. I know that I was not supposed to be crying. I knew what I had gotten myself into, but that did not make it hurt less. I had thought that the world would be different, that our connection was beyond physical, that it had been all in my head. I was so delusional. My heart had been broken so many times in the past because I fell for people so quickly. I had tried getting to know someone organically and building a relationship, and I had failed. I had tried something purely physical that did not involve emotions, and I had failed. What was I going to do now? Why did I always want the ones that I could not have? I felt as if nothing would ever be right again. I held on to him, even though he was not mine, and that had landed me in this mess. I hated feeling heartbroken, like I would never be loved. Maybe I was not destined for love, and I had to harden my heart. I had thought that when I came out as gay and embraced myself, that it would be easier for me to find someone. I was starting to see that it was not so easy to find love. I had lost all hope. What would you do in my situation? Would you completely close off your heart after being hurt several times? To be continued. Thanks for watching. Consider subscribing to become part of our Rainbow Force and stay wholesome.